and welcome to my website. The assignment here was to create a CRUD app, so anything that you can create, read, or update or delete data on or from or to. And my website is a restaurant recommender and reviewer. So here we have a list of the top restaurants in New York. Here are the names, location, cuisine for each. What you could do is you can add a new restaurant. So if you have another recommendation, you can add the name, location, and cuisine and create that restaurant. You will see I left it blank, but it fills up here. You can also filter through these restaurants. So I can filter by location. So I want all the restaurants in Flatiron, and that's what you get. Or you could filter by cuisine. You want all the Greek restaurants, and it gets you all the Greek restaurants. Once you're in any of these views, you can click into a specific restaurant. Let's go to Milos, the Greek one. Here you'll see a name and the picture, and reviews. So here you have author Maya. She left a review, and then what you can do is edit the review. You'll see here it's a pre-filled edit form, so you just need to edit, make a change in the author, submit. You'll see here there's a new change in the review. You can also delete the review. You see it's gone. You can also add a new review and new create, and you'll see it here. So that's mainly the features of the website. Now for the actual code, I want to show you how this came about. So first we built our own servers, and they're running on our local hosts. So we needed to require many variables. Make sure we called them, and here you have the app is listening on our server. So we have a server.js file, and then as I told you, we're using the model views controller template. So first we have our database with our schema, how our tables are going to look like, and what information we're going to seed into them. And then you have the models that tell you, okay, how are you going to make SQL queries on those tables. One for restaurant, one for review, since I have two tables. And then you have the controllers, and you have again a restaurant controller and a review controller, because this one calls the models for restaurants, the other one calls the models for reviews. And then since we want to render information on the browser, we need to have a view controller, because these functions will render EJS files that can be viewed on HTML. And here what I'm referring to is the views files, where we inject EJS so we can render HTML onto the browser. And to make sure all of this is connected, we use routers, a restaurant router and a reviews router, to make sure the URL calls to what we need it to call. So for one or more technical details, I wanted to show you my databases first, and how I did a restaurant table and a reviews table, and I seeded the data into it manually. And then from there, I want to show you how they, in the models, we join those two tables. Rather than having a separate join table, we just were able to join the tables here, because in reviews, I have restaurant ID, so it can match to a specific restaurant. So here we're doing a join table reviews on table restaurant, and then you're preparing the restaurant ID in the reviews table to the restaurant ID in the restaurant table. And this allows you to use any of these elements and query on them. From here, we go to the controllers, which, as I told you, they call these specific functions in the models. And we're able to do that because we're using pjpromise.dens to call the SQL queries. One of the things I'm most proud of is this index function. I know it's a lot, but it's really helping us filter through the restaurants. So if someone clicks specific location, how you trigger those specific restaurants, the cuisine, etc. Um, and you're looping over the length of all restaurants to make sure if someone does not put a location, don't show a location. Someone does not put a cuisine, don't show the cuisine. And this function could get a lot more complex. And this is actually one of the challenges I had, is that getting it to work even better, because I wanted to have a multiple filter option where someone can say Flatiron and Greenwich Village, rather than just one. So that is something I still wanted to work on. And then another challenge, I guess, when I was said the fact that the schema here for reviews, it had restaurant ID, and then I kept referring back and forth to ID. I would get confused. Am I referring to restaurant ID from reviews, restaurant ID from the actual restaurant table, or is it the reviews ID? So that was a bit of a technical, challenge, more of a structure challenge. Um, Elements I can definitely improve on for next time is for sure the CSS. I wasn't able to get enough time to get into styling and making a grid at least, and making it more usable. For the routes, if I could go back, I would have made one route, so a restaurant route, and the review route would be built on the restaurant route. Since only when you're in restaurant number one, you want to show reviews for that restaurant. So like here, for example, it makes sense to add the reviews on the restaurant route. And then, as I mentioned before, I would want filter to be fully functional, allowing user to filter through many options, one option, two options. And I need to go back and also comment on most of my code, so a user who's never heard of this project can easily follow up and follow through. For future plans, I could have potentially used a Yelp API to trigger all the restaurant information rather than manually seeding it here. Given I have adding and editing and deleting reviews in restaurants, it would make sense to have users and allow users to edit, or certain users to edit, certain users to delete. There's authentication, and then potentially adding an admin to check on those edits or deletes. Yep, that's about it for me.